Join spiritual feminist and empowerment coach Joni Advent Maher for Trust Your Sacred Feminine Flow. Listen in for intimate conversations about money, transformation, and feminine sovereignty. And now, your host, Joni Advent Maher.
Welcome to Trust Your Sacred Feminine Flow. I'm your host, Joni Advent Maher, spiritual midwife, mystic, and a transformational guide. And I'm here today to talk with you about visibility and about being seen and why it's such an important topic for us to consider when we look at stepping into our sovereignty or living the lives we came here to live, being the women that we came here to be. Why is visibility such an important factor? So I want to start out by saying this is something that I have had a love-hate relationship with my whole life. And maybe you can relate. I have had a deep, deep yearning to be seen for much of my life, and at the same time, I remained hidden and invisible for much of my life. So as an example, when I was a young woman, I came into recovery for alcoholism and addiction, and I started attending AA meetings. And about the same time, I had a friend who also was beginning, and we were about the same age. We were both in our 20s. And at every meeting we would go to, my friend would share, and she would cry, and she would cry, and she would cry, and she would get all this support, and people loved her, and they thought she was wonderful, and everybody just kind of circled around her and supported her in this step, this important step of changing and transforming her life and letting go of addiction. And at the same time, I would be sitting silently at the back of the room, listening and taking it all in and feeling at least as much pain or anguish as she was, but I just was not able to bring it forward, and I just was not able to get comfortable with being seen with that. And maybe that's been your experience in this life as well, or maybe you're someone who is more comfortable being seen, but I would imagine that there are deeper aspects of you that you may not feel quite as comfortable sharing. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about visibility. So to begin, I'd like to take you through a little visualization exercise. So if it's safe to do so, I suggest that you close your eyes and that you get comfortable in your seat. And I would like you to imagine for a moment that it's a dark evening, a dark summer's night, and the temperature is just right, that you can feel it on your skin, the warmth, and that up in the heavens there is a big, bright, beautiful full moon. A luminous full moon, and that you can feel the light from the moon caressing your skin, and you can feel the glow awakening something in you. And just for a moment, I want you to experience that luminosity, that expression of light that is emanating from the moon. And then I want you to recognize that you have your own version of that. You have your own version of luminosity and of light that can be shared, that can be expressed, that can be brought forward through you. And that light, just like the moonlight, can be experienced by those around you. It can be witnessed. It can be a powerful activator or awakener in others. And that doesn't mean that you have to be some powerful wise woman or healer or teacher, although you may be. It means simply by expressing and being yourself that there is a light and a luminous essence that you bring to the world. So now I want you to imagine just sitting with the moon in this soft summer evening, and that you can begin to let your own soul light shine. That it's a safe place to allow it to radiate out. And then I want you to imagine that coming from the four directions, there are others moving towards you. They may be familiar to you, they may be unknown, they may be strangers. But I want you to imagine that they are coming towards you. And I want you to, in this experience, determine how close do you want them to get? How intimately do you want them to come in and experience your light? Do you want them to be a mile away? Do you want them to be 2 feet away? And when you see these others coming towards you, I want you to notice who they are. It may be people from your past. It may be people from your current day life. So who is moving towards you, and how close do you want them to get? How visible, how seen do you want to be? And now I want you to imagine that behind you or on either side of you, you have an ally, a powerful ally, who is both able to serve as a protector, as a support, as a guide, that can stand with you as you are, being visible and expressing this light within you. And I want you to notice how this changes the equation. Does it feel easier to let others approach, or to amplify your light and let it be expressed in a bigger way? So just notice how that changes the equation, and also recognizing that this ally is someone that sees you, that sees every aspect of you, and has nothing but love and compassion and appreciation for you and who you are. And so for a moment, just letting yourself take that in, that you could be bathed in being unconditionally loved and accepted and celebrated. And seeing how this changes your willingness, your comfort level, your enthusiasm for being seen. Now take a moment to bring this experience to a close, this supportive and healing experience with this powerful ally, knowing you can call upon them any time that you need. So even under the best of circumstances, most of us need support with being visible. Whether it's being comfortable having our light being visible, or our power, or our wisdom, or our beauty, or our innate strength being visible. For some of us, that can be a challenge. For others, it can be a challenge to have our vulnerability or our imperfections or our frailty or our shadow be visible. And we live in a world that is transitioning and transforming millennia-old system of the patriarchy, which is not the most receptive and loving state to bring all of who we are and express all of who we are and have that be visible to the world. However, it does not discount the necessity of being a full expression of ourselves in our lives and having that be witnessed. Because I dare say, if you are someone who is listening to this right now, you came here into this life in part to be a light in the darkness, to be a light in the world, to help change the conversation, to help transform the state of humanity, not necessarily with a big movement or with a big agenda, but simply by being the truest expression of yourself in your life, by showing up in your marriage or your partnership or in your family or community or workplace or in your sacred work with the truth of your wisdom, the truth of your particular vulnerability and gifts and beauty and love. I've said it many times in many ways that the world needs that from you, and you too need that from you, because it is only in living out loud or fully visible in that full expression of who we are that we can have the greatest fulfillment in our lives and really step into our sovereignty in the most full and powerful way. So I bring this topic up as an invitation for you to engage with it and to enter an inquiry of where are you with this whole issue of visibility. You may consider yourself to be shy or introverted or timid or prefer to live your life as a hermit. Or you may be on the other end of the continuum and be quite comfortable stepping out into the limelight, being the center of attention, or going full Lady Gaga out there in the world. But I can imagine you have your own version of the places where you hold back and you'd rather not be seen or visible. So here are some of the things that I have come to learn and appreciate about this topic over the years. First and foremost, I think this visibility begins with self-awareness and the recognition of who we are, of what we bring. And this is kind of a dance process, because part of our self-awareness and self-recognition comes through the reflection of others, which requires being seen by others. So this is kind of interwoven in the process, but I do believe that as we are little ones and as we are coming up through our lives, we have some awareness about whether it's who we are or what we're capable of. And again, the world reflects that back to us, either in affirming it or in discouraging it. And that, of course, lays the groundwork for how comfortable we are with being visible. Along with the self-awareness, then comes self-expression, that expressing who we are and putting it out into the world. And I often think about little ones who are so excited to show off their new skills or gifts. How many times can you be at the playground and hear the shouts, "Mommy, Mommy, look at me, look at me." So that highlights both the desire to express ourselves and to be witnessed, to be seen, which is the next facet of visibility, is being witnessed. And under optimal circumstances, we are positively reflected back. So whether it's our gift or our light or just an understanding of who we are and what we're expressing, to have that reflected back in a positive way is always what we're hoping for, yearning for, and it helps us continue to both deepen in our awareness of who we are and express ourselves. And then the final component around visibility that I have discovered is engagement with others or being received fully. So part of that reflection process, if we're breaking this down, is being received, like having who you are be received by someone is such a powerful medicine or fertilizer for blossoming, for becoming the most full and beautiful expression of your true nature. So this is something we can receive from others, and there are times when we most need to receive it from ourselves. So where we need to allow the truth of who we are to be visible to ourselves and to lovingly reflect and receive all the aspects of who we are, those that we deem lovable, those that we deem beautiful, and those that we deem utterly unacceptable, to work towards that experience of seeing them and receiving them with love and compassion. Sometimes to get there, we need support and we need others to model that for us. So whether it's other human beings or you use your spiritual practices to connect with other beings like the Divine Mother or even the Mother Earth or a grove of trees, having that experience of feeling witnessed, feeling seen, feeling received and held in a loving, compassionate way by others can guide us and deepen our ability to do that for ourselves. So, beloved, as we begin to bring this to a close, I want to just affirm what I know to be true, that every aspect of you, whether you currently treasure it or despise it, is sacred and worthy of being seen. And I encourage you to find those people and those places who can provide that for you. And if you would like my support with that, you can always contact me through my website, revolutionaryheart.com. One of my sacred gifts is supporting others in being seen through the eyes of love. A final practice, an invitation I have for you. The next time you gaze in the mirror, I encourage you to look deeply into your own eyes and to see beyond the superficial layers to the deeper essence of who you are. And with that, I offer my final reminder, as always, to trust what your heart knows, beloved.
Thanks for listening to Trust Your Sacred Feminine Flow with Joni Advent Maher. If you like what you heard, the best compliment you can give us is to share our podcast with a friend and subscribe, rate, and review our podcast at iTunes.